The Eagles. I sat all day long after the press conference with Nick and him giving his explanation on why the starters would rest. And like I said in my other video, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. I made a long one. I understood the argument on both sides. So his explanation for why starters are going to sit, I understand it. And for me, it's only going to be vindicated with a win. I watched a video a moment ago of Saquon talking to the press about the decision to rest and how he felt, what his family thought, and all of that. What I saw, I don't know if anybody else saw this, but what I saw was a man dejected. What I saw was a man who had his hand on the prize, on, let's say, in the cookie jar, right? About to grab that cookie and got his hand slapped. And you know the face of a child when they get their hand slapped when they're about to get a cookie or candy or whatever it is they were reaching for that they really wanted. He had that look. Now, that's the look he has today. He understands the big picture of the Super Bowl, but he wanted that. He wanted that record. What does he have later in life if he doesn't have the Super Bowl, right? We're not talking about if he wins it. If he wins it, in the back of his mind, he may still miss not having the record. But I think a Super Bowl win will ease his feelings of missing out. I think it will. A lot of angles that people have talked about on this subject have come from media people, right? But when you hear players, when you hear almost every player talk about this, even the facility guys today, when I watch them, they say get the record. You know why? Because they understand it from a player's perspective. Now, of course, this is why we have coaches, why we have people that have to protect ourselves. I get all of that. I get all of that. But they are not the ones that have to live with, and we are not the ones that have to live with the feeling of almost making it or almost having it or it's right in my grasp. He does. And I can already see it creeping in his mind that not going for it for him is a disappointment. And I feel you, brother. I understand you. I understand you, right? He, like I said, this record goes beyond right now. And a lot of people are like, oh, they call you stupid, they call you dumb if you think that the record is important to them and you understand it. These are people, in my opinion, that have never had that type of aspiration or goal in their life to reach something that seemed unattainable and to be able to have it right there and snatched away from them. These are people who don't understand that feeling, in my opinion. They don't get it. All they care about is a Super Bowl. All they care about is the big game at the end, right? So I watched another guy just a moment ago talk about how you could do both and percentages and how it doesn't guarantee it. I like his take, right, Broads? He says it doesn't guarantee you a Super Bowl, but it gives you that extra couple percent because of rest. That's the cleanest take I've heard of why he shouldn't go for it. It may give you, if you had 10%, he said 12. Maybe it gives you 15 or whatever, but it gives you more percent. I love that take. However, my retort to that would be two things. He mentioned the Dan Campbell thing, how the Lions went for it with all their people. And if it would have failed, and something would have happened, everybody would look at them. That's playing the if game. Like, we could play the if game with the Eagles. If Saquon catches in the Falcons game, that's another win. If Smitty catches the ball in the Commanders game, that's another win. And then we're in the number 1 seed. We can play ifs. But Dan put his people out there. That game meant nothing. Record-wise, right? It's the same thing with us. This game means nothing record-wise. But he said, okay, listen, I want to keep you in rhythm. I want to keep you... That's the same thing I'm saying. I'm saying if Jalen is cleared... Now, this is a different conversation if Jalen isn't clear. Again, we talked about that. But if Jalen is cleared, we need, in a meaningless game, to knock all the rust and all the jitters off of him before the postseason. In my opinion, the 5% that you get for not running Saquon and the other guys. Now, people like Lane and all those that want to rest, I'd say you rest them, right? I don't say you deny their request. If there are people in the locker room that want to go get it, you put them on the field. If there's people that don't want to get it, you take them off the field, right? They want to rest, let them. But I think that running Jalen right into the playoffs, if healthy for this game, without playing him, takes those percent away. This is a negative detractor for that. Because now the man hasn't been under center in 3 games, 3 weeks. I feel for Saquon. I don't want him to have and to live with the I could have had it moment 10 years, 20 years down the line if they don't win the Super Bowl. And then people say, "Oh, you're a worry ward." No, I'm saying the same thing that everybody else is saying, that the Super Bowl is not a guarantee, just in a different way. I'm preaching the same message. The Super Bowl is not a guarantee. So since it's not a guarantee, what are we talking about? Wouldn't you like to have something that's relatively easy as a motivational booster for everybody? Hey, everybody that wants that is now boosted. We got it. We got it for you, bro. We celebrate with you like they did for the 2000 mark. But this is even better because this is all time. People will also say that the record means nothing, and that's coming from their perspective, right? The record means nothing to them. The record would live with the Eagles and Saquon until somebody breaks it. And then even after they break it, that record would still lie with the Eagles, just the way it lies with all the other teams. We talked about that. Including the move by Dan Campbell to play his guys before this game. You have the 07 Patriots. I believe that's the 07 Patriots. I always talk about this, but then I always second guess what year it was. One second. Maybe it wasn't the 07 Patriots. Maybe it was the 2011 Patriots. What year was it? One of those years. Whatever year it was where they had almost a perfect season, right? They had their seating locked up weeks in advance. Weeks in advance. And you know what Tom said to Belichick? Hey, we want to go for a perfect season. So you're not talking about one game now. You're talking about multiple games. I really want to find this because now it's bothering me. Patriots and what was it? Who was it? It was the Giants. Patriots versus Giants, Super Bowl. Okay, so it was Super Bowl 47. I don't know why I'm getting retarded with Roman numerals. But yeah, it was that season, right? The Patriots were 16. They hadn't lost a game. They had not lost a game, and they were set up for success way in advance. And the greatest of all time says, hey, I want to go for a perfect season. We could do it. We could repeat what only the Miami Dolphins have done, right? Let's go for it all. Even though we got it sewn up, even though there's no reason, hey, we can rest for the next 3-4 weeks or 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever, however much rest they wanted, because they had already had it sewn up. Those boys went for it. And had it not been for the helmet catch, they would have had a perfect season. That's one of the greatest Super Bowls. See, and then we only talk about Super Bowls and accomplishments and things of this nature when something extraordinary like that happens, right? We talk about that losing Patriots team, even though they lost the Super Bowl, because of that perfect season, because of what happened, and because Tom was like, go for it, even though he didn't need to. And the Giants won, right? So that's they made it. So what I'm saying is, if the Eagles don't even make it, or if they make it and lose, you absolutely can also hang your hat on achieving another milestone during the season of breaking the all-time record. You absolutely can hang your hat on that as an organization and as a fan base. Hey, we gave it all we had. We broke all of these records. We did all these things. We were this successful, plus got the all-time rushing record and made a run for the Super Bowl. And with how talented we are, I believe we could do it. And I just really pray. I mean, I want a Super Bowl anyway. No matter whether Saquon's on my team or not, however we get there ethically and playing right, I want a Super Bowl. I'm an Eagles fan no matter who's on the team. Whether we're 0-16 or 16-0, I'm an Eagles fan, right? I'll admit I'm one of the type of Eagles fans that can say we suck when we suck and we're great when we're great. I'm not a Cowboys fan. They can't admit when the ship is sinking, right? Until it's actually sunk and their head is under water. But oh my goodness. I don't know why I do know why I'm so invested. I'm so invested because I understand this. Wanting something so bad, wanting a milestone, wanting something that means this much to you. And I tell you a little story. I was working for a good company, right? As a young man. I'm an old man now. Grandkids and all of that. I was working for a good company as a young man. But I didn't have really any degrees, right? I went to work right away to support my family as a young man. I started early. And I already had a good job. But a better job was on the horizon. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. My family was like, you need to put in for this. You need to go out for that. This is a dream job. And I was like, you're right. It's a dream job. But do you know what? They're going to have resumes stacked to the ceiling of college graduates and people with degrees that are going to be going for this job. And I really don't have a shot at it. But they told me, listen, you do have a shot at it. You are just as smart or qualified as anybody else, based on where you are right now, based on your working experience and everything, to go out for this job. So I went out for the job. And would you know that I got that job? I got that amazing job. And when I got there, being so young, everybody thought I was a contractor. They were like, oh, it's nice to meet you. You know, contractors are over here and the regular employees. And I'm like, no, I'm a regular employee. I work here as a full-time regular employee. Had I not done that, had I not gone out for it, I would have missed that opportunity. That opportunity to work for that company and all the years that I've been there has set up my life to be much better than it could have been At the old company wasn't bad, but the old company is nothing like what the new company is. I understand it. And I would have regretted not taking that job or not going for that job and could have gotten it. And I did get it. I don't know. I'm praying for a Super Bowl win, not only for myself, my city, but also for you, Saquon. So that you don't have to hold your head down like I saw in that interview, how it seemed like you were hurt and it seemed like the message was your family was a little hurt too. Hold your head up, brother, and go get that Super Bowl. Go get that Super Bowl. And we'll be right there to celebrate with you on Broad Street. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds.